When you love racing like we do, you deserve more than just a place to sleep. You deserve a great place to stay. And that's exactly what you'll get with the Holiday Inn Express, the Hampton Inn, and the fully renovated Red Roof Inn and Suites, all in Wilkesboro. Enjoy award-winning Southern hospitality, comfortable and spacious rooms with a complimentary breakfast. But the fun doesn't stop there. Take in the beauty of our back roads and the richness of our history. Whether you're here for the excitement of the races or the beauty of our countryside, we're ready to welcome you back.
The 1915 combines rich history with timeless charm. From intimate gatherings to full-day rentals, we provide the perfect backdrop for your most cherished moments. With indoor and outdoor options, bridal and groom suites, every detail is crafted just for you. Make your wedding unforgettable at the 1915, Wilkesboro's historic wedding venue, where your story begins.
Closed captions for this episode of Life in Wilkes is brought to you by Deal Insurance Agency in Wilkesboro, an award-winning, experienced, family-owned and operated agency with service and coverage that goes above and beyond expectations. Join us on a captivating journey as we explore the charm, history, and vibrant culture of Wilkes County. Discover the hidden gems, inspiring stories, and remarkable people that make Wilkes a place worth knowing and celebrating. Join us now as we experience the unique essence of Life in Wilkes.
Well, I'd like to welcome a good friend of mine, a family man, and a remarkable person, Dave Massucco. Good morning.
Good morning, Luanne. Thanks for having me. Appreciate this.
Well, we just want to start from the beginning. As we go along, people may realize that you're not from North Carolina.
Probably because of the accent.
Probably.
Yeah.
So go ahead and tell us some of your story.
Well, I was born in Worcester, Massachusetts, or Worcester, as they say up there,
yes.
Worcester, right in the middle of the state. My father was a college football coach at Holy Cross. And when you're a young kid, of course, you always think that when you start having memories, that's where your life really started, but it didn't. Even though I was born in Worcester, my mom and dad lived in Shrewsbury at the time. And then we moved to Waltham, which I don't remember at all, really. And then we moved to Worcester, and that's where most of my childhood memories come from. And I lived in that house until I graduated from college.
Wow.
Yep. And then even after I graduated, I came back and lived there for a short time before I moved out and got my own apartment.
So I feel like your father was probably a great influence on you and some of the things you wanted to do around that time. What were some of the things that you did to follow in his footsteps?
Well, he was a great football player, way, way better than I was. He played at Holy Cross, which was big time back then in the years that he played in the early 1950s. And then he coached there. And football, to me, was like everything growing up because we'd go to all his games and practices, and it was a lot of fun, and I really dedicated myself to it. But then, you get to be a senior in college and you realize you're 5'9", 180 pounds,
right.
And really not that fast. And there's a lot of guys way bigger and way faster, and that was the end of my football career. And went back to the high school that I graduated from and taught English, and was an assistant football coach for a year. And actually didn't enjoy it. Didn't enjoy coaching at all. I didn't have enough responsibility. The head coach kind of I was more like a team manager, to be honest with you. And I always had liked to work out for football, so I always had my own weights in my parents' cellar, then their garage, then my apartment that I moved to. I had a weight room. And I decided to enter my first bodybuilding contest in January of 1981, and the competition was in May of 81.
And how old were you then?
22.
Okay.
And a buddy of mine, and believe it or not, his real name is Charlie Brown. He got me a part-time job at a Nautilus gym. Nautilus was huge back then, just coming out and really popular. And I went in and I met the woman at the desk, and that turned out to be my wife.
Holly was there for you.
Holly was there that day. Yep.
You never know.
Yep, I know. Yep. It was pretty interesting. So
now, was she a weightlifter?
No, it was a funny story that her fiance at the time, his father was the co-owner of the gym, he owned the gym part, and a buddy of his owned the physical, like a not personal training, physical therapist part. And she'll tell the story that I didn't remember her name, didn't remember meeting her, but I don't go along with that part of the story.
How long have you been married now?
40 years. It'll be 41 in September.
Her.
Yeah, it'll be 41 in September.
Wow. Now, did you just pick her up, like sweep her off her feet like that?
She said she called home and said to her mom, I met the guy I'm going to marry. And her mom said, well, I hope so, because you're engaged. And
wrong guy.
Wrong guy.
Yeah.
So it ended up being me. And I'm very, very lucky that it was.
That is a blessing for sure.
Yep.
Well, so did you all stay in that area in Worcester?
Yes. I taught at that school for 3 years, but during the third year, halfway through the third year in that January, I opened up a gym like on a part-time basis. I'd teach school in the morning, then go there and open the gym in the afternoon. And even by that May, I knew I could make more money doing the gym business than teaching. I was teaching at the school I went to, which was a St. John's High School in Shrewsbury, Mass. It was a all-boys private school, Catholic school.
Wow.
In my first year of teaching English, my contract was for $9,800 for the whole year.
Oh, man, yeah. I think you could make more as a gym owner.
I realized I could make more money as a gym owner, and I told the headmaster I wasn't coming back, and I went in the gym full-time.
Wow.
Yeah, much to my mother's chagrin, because I had gone to Williams College and majored in English, and I was running a gym.
Sure, she was very proud of you.
Eventually, when the gym became successful, she was, but at the beginning it was a little tough. Yeah.
Now, did you all have children before you moved this way?
Yes, but we were married like 7 years before we had children, because we would travel when we could, and
you do now that you're kind of empty nesters, but not really.
Right. But then we had my daughter Maria and my son Jesse about 18 months apart, and my wife had a bad experience in the city of Worcester. Was getting bigger and a little bit more dangerous, and she had a bad experience coming home from work one night with the 2 kids in the car, and she said, I'm not raising my kids in this city. And we had always vacationed to North Carolina for years, and we thought we might retire down here, but that speeded up the whole process, and we sold the gym and moved down here when the kids were 18 months apart. And that's when we rented a house, a little tiny house in Darby, which is technically Ferguson, I guess, by the zip code, but it's right across the street from Leatherwood Mountain. Because we had land at Leatherwood Mountain that we had bought thinking we'd move there eventually. But when we bought the land, we had no children. And by the time we sold the gym and moved down, we had the 2 children. So we said, we better see if this is going to work before we build a house on Leatherwood. And so we rented a little house across the street. And I don't know if it's that much different now. I don't think it is. But back then, 20 years or 30 years ago, it's in the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
My wife got a job almost right away at West Glow Spa in Blowing Rock, and it was 45 minutes to go to work.
Wow.
And if I took the kids to the Y to go swimming, because I was Mr. Mom when we first moved down, because I just sold the gym, and she got a job right away, so I was Mr. Mom, which was great. And I'd take the kids to the Y, go swimming, and that was 40, 45 minutes from our house. So we said, this is crazy.
And the weather was crazy probably some of that time.
If the kids played sports like we both did, we're going to do nothing but drive all the time. We'll be doing nothing but driving to school, driving to practice, driving to games.
A lot of people do that, and they're pretty miserable.
Yeah. So after 1 year there, we lucked out and found a house in Moravian Falls at an auction, and bought that house, and still live in it.
Wow.
Yep, that was November of '96 we moved into that house.
So originally, were you planning to have a farm and do all these things that you're doing now?
That's interesting, because when I was in the gym business, bodybuilding and everything, I got more and more into the health, obviously, and trying to live a healthy lifestyle. And a lot of the food, you start hearing stories about, you think you're eating some good food and it's really not that great. So we started hearing more and more about organic food, and I found a organic farm in Barry, Mass, which was maybe 30 minutes from us, maybe, and they were looking for interns. So I thought it was a great way to learn. So we did the CSA, First Community Supported Agriculture. We bought a share. And part of their deal was, if you have a share, they want you to do an afternoon of work to see what it's like, to see this food just doesn't magically appear.
Right.
It's a lot of work.
It is.
So we went and we'd do our afternoon, and they'd have you do some crazy things, that they felt you could do without messing things up, but like pick rocks out of the field after they tilled it.
Right.
And we did all sorts of crazy things. So the next year, they said, if you want to work X amount of hours, you can get a half a share for free. So I did that. I was that because I was trying to work my way out of the gym and find an owner, a buyer rather. So I did that, and the next year they wanted me to come back more because I was doing a good job, and so I went and I worked enough hours so it'd be a full share for free.
Oh,
And that's the year I really learned a lot about.
you are a worker bee.
Yeah. And that's the year I really learned a lot about it. So when we moved down here, Holly and I decided we were going to have a small homestead. But again, we didn't. You have two kids that are 18 months apart, and
Ooh.
we had chickens and goats and pretty big gardens. And then we became pregnant we found out twins. I was 40, Holly was 39, and she started having some issues with contractions and stuff, so they made her go on like a bed rest kind of thing. And she was miserable because the twins were born June 29th, and it's already, you know how it is here, it's already hot. So she'd be laying out in the chaise lounge in the backyard wanting to work so bad, but she couldn't because they said, if you start to have contractions, this is going to be really bad. So that was a tough year for me in the gardens. That was a lot of work.
Yeah.
A lot of work doing it by myself. And
So-
the kids were too young to help, so.
Yeah, there's a lot of standing on your hands and juggling with your feet,
Yeah.
trying to keep everybody on track. And
Right.
kids are a handful
Yeah.
besides the
Yeah.
other stuff.
Right.
But Holly had the twins and everything went well.
Yeah, it was funny because of her age and the fact that it was twins, they considered her a high-risk pregnancy. And we had the other two children in Worcester, so we had never had to deal with the hospitals down here. And I don't know how things are now, but back then we were advised not to use the local hospital, but go to Caldwell, which is in Lenore, because they were going to have a brand new maternity wing.
Oh.
So Holly went down there, and right next to the hospital were midwives. And she loved the ladies, so she started going there, and she decided that she would use them, and they would be able to work with the hospital, and she'd be all set. So you go in there, and it's like your living room. I mean, all the furniture and stuff is like, this is unbelievable. But because of the type of pregnancy it was, there was a doctor, her midwife, at least one nurse that I remember, and then a nurse that wanted to come in. They wanted a nurse to come in because she was training. Holly's best friend was in there, me.
A partridge in a pear
this
tree.
Is crazy, this is crazy. But she has my daughter, Sierra, and she's wiped out. And there's another baby to come. And the doctor's not a happy person because she thought we should be in the operating room because of the high risk involved. So she was standing in the corner with her arms crossed, and she wasn't happy at all. So the midwife comes over to me and says, things better start moving, or the doctor's going to wheel Holly down into the operating room. So I went over and I said, hey, hon, the midwife said that the doctor said, we got to get going here or something.
Sure.
Something's going to happen. So she said, she's wiped out. And the midwife comes over and checks her and says, oh, you're doing great, Holly. You're up to about 3 centimeters.
Oh,
and
no.
Holly jerks her head off that pillow and says, what? You mean I have to dilate all over again? I thought she was going to die.
Oh,
so I was like,
that is not good news.
no, that was not good news, but everything came out great. Dakota was born 43 minutes after Sierra, so it was a long time.
Yeah.
And everything was fine. But it was so funny. When I looked around at one time, I was like, there was about 10 people in this room. It was pretty
Does
funny.
Sierra play the older sister card? Or
She did when they were young.
Yeah.
She did,
Yeah.
She did, yeah. But my daughter, Maria, it was great because she was a very responsible person and still is. And she was kind of forced to be a little babysitter, second mom sometimes.
Kid helper.
My son, Jesse, was wide open as a kid, wide open. Yeah. And it's so funny to see his kids because especially one of them is a lot like that. We were just saying that the other day.
Yeah.
That it's pretty amusing. Yeah.
Well, when I first met you to do what we're going to talk about in a minute, as far as characterization, I guess, I ran into you some store, and we saw each other in the aisle, and you're like, "Hi, Luanne," and I was like, "Hi, Dave. Do you know where the index cards are?" And I was like, "I'm not sure. I'll help you look." Tell me the story of why you were getting index cards. Do you remember?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to remind you. One of your daughters, I think, was going to move to another country, and you were going to learn the language because she was learning the language. Am I right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
that is
what
right.
was the language?
Italian.
And did you learn it?
Not much.
Okay, you don't have to show me.
No, not much.
So did she
just a
go?
little bit. She was going to there as a study abroad. She was going to Northwestern. She went as an exchange student, for a year, and she met a man there who was a graduate student, and they started a relationship. And of course, she's moving back for her next year of college, but they kept a long-term relationship going. And he eventually came to this country and got his citizenship, but they got married in Italy. My wife and I got to go, which was great. It was fantastic. And then they came back to California, which they love because they can hike and bike and surf. They love doing all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And they had a beautiful place in Menlo Park, near to everything that they like to do. And she had a great job teaching English at a private Catholic school, and she just recently gave it up. And he was working for the Red Cross, and they gave it up because they're avid bikers, like I said, and they are going on a bike packing trip across Europe into Asia.
Wow, they were meant to find each other.
And then they're going to move to Italy. So they are going to move to Italy. Yeah.
Well, let me know. We might need to plan a trip. Yeah. Reggie would probably really love that. Yeah. We've been, and it was wonderful.
It's really nice.
So that just brings me back to who you really are, and how you take care of other people, but you really take care of yourself through getting more knowledge, learning anything that you can, and being involved. I know are you a woodcutter?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that, and then we'll talk about all the other things that you do.
When I was younger, my dad, my parents had a little piece of property up in Jackson, New Hampshire, which is absolutely beautiful. Really, really special place. His mom had a place. She had the old one-room schoolhouse building. They renovated it, of course, but she also had 8 acres of land behind that.
Wow.
And when she had her will made out, she left the house to one of my dad's brothers, because the oldest brother already had his place just up the road, and the middle brother, one of the middle brothers, lived in Florida and wanted no part of New Hampshire.
Yeah.
So my grandmother gave my dad the 8 acres of land. And when I was a freshman in college, they bought a used single-wide trailer and put it on that land. And my brother, who was a carpenter, put a pitched tin roof over it, which saved it, because a flat roof of a trailer, my dad and my 2 brothers and I used to have to go up and shovel that roof off every winter because it would have collapsed because the snow gets so high. And
I can relate, because in like 1992, I lived in Littleton, lived in Whitefield, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And that was a big experience for a girl from Texas.
Yeah.
So I know what you're saying about shoveling snow.
Right. So there was a little wood burning stove in the trailer, and also we had fire pits outside for campfire. And so my dad was always cutting trees, because the trees fall down and branches fall in the yard. And so my dad showed me how to use a chainsaw. I was probably in 8th grade. And after a while, I enjoyed that part of it more than he did. I think he would like move the wood and hold the wood and tell me kind of where to cut it, and I'd cut it. And I just always have had a chainsaw. And when I lived in Worcester with my wife Holly, before we moved to North Carolina, we had a wood stove. My dad had a wood stove, so I'd cut wood for us and him. So when they moved down here, we have a wood stove in our house. And the house that we live in right now in Moravian Falls was built in 1888.
Oh, yeah.
And so what we did now, though, we got outside water stove, one of those outdoor water stoves that heat your house and your hot water. So we burn a lot of wood to keep that up. And then I started, because my son Jesse works for a guy, Garrett Shue, G's Trees. He works for him 2 days a week. So any log they get that they can't turn into lumber, because Garrett has a sawmill, if it's got too many knots or it's crooked or whatever, Jesse brings it home to us and we turn it into firewood. So I had so much available firewood, logs to make firewood, that I started a little side business of selling firewood. So still do that.
So I noticed your T-shirt, Muzz's Gym.
Yep.
Lead us into that avenue of your life and how all that came together.
So the gym I started in Massachusetts was called Bay State Gym. The nickname from Massachusetts is the Bay State. When I moved down here, I was lucky enough to finally, when I stopped being Mr. Mom and got a job, I was teaching English, language arts first at Millis Creek Intermediate School. And then I got a job teaching English at Wilkes Central High School, which is 1 mile from my driveway. And I thought this was perfect, you know. I mean, you're going to have the same, just like when I was growing up, both my parents were in education. So when the summers came, we had 1 month as a whole family, 1 month vacation up in New Hampshire every summer. It was great. And then my dad was usually getting ready to go to double sessions because he was still coaching football. But the rest of us would go to Rye Beach, New Hampshire for 2 more weeks. But again, I mean, your whole family is off, you know. It was great.
It was
great. So I was thinking it's going to be the same with my family. And then after my second year at Central, I never had gotten a North Carolina teaching license. So I was going up to Appalachian State, taking education classes, because I already had the BA in English, but I needed education classes to get my praxis exam and
I know.
certification.
I have a degree in teaching, and I had to do the same thing from Texas to North Carolina.
Right. So at the end of the second year, I was already my second year of already had done 2 summers up at that app, and I was getting ready to do my third, and I got a letter from the Wilkes County School Department saying, due to budget constraints, all lateral entries in Wilkes County schools will be laid off, and that was me. So I was like,
bummer.
Yeah. So Mr. Mitchell was the principal at Wilkes Central, and he was a great guy. Loved Mr. Mitchell. And he came to me and said, one day I was up at the board we used to overhead projectors then.
Of course we did.
Reviewing for the EOG and or EOC for high school. And he came up to me and he came in the room. And usually he was good about coming in and he'd just kind of take a walk around and make sure you were doing it. Give you a little wink. Yeah, drop in observation all the time. And he was really good about that. And he'd give you a thumbs up or a wink and he'd go out the door. But this time he came right up to me. And I said, I thought I forgot something. Did I miss a meeting? Did I not turn in a piece of paper because it's the end of the year? I forgot something. And he put his hands on my shoulders and said, don't worry about that letter. He said, you're going to have to apply for the job, but if nobody else has the teaching certification, I can hire you back. And I'm like, that letter seemed pretty final to me. He said, no, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Then we went to the next, so the school year ends. We go to the end of the year faculty meeting. Mr. Mitchell gets up and actually starts crying. He loved that school because they transferred him from Wilkes Central to Boomer Ferguson Elementary School. And as far as I remember the story goes, the superintendent was retiring, and it was one of the last things he did, and I just never understood it. And I went home and told my wife, if the superintendent of schools is going to do that to a guy who loves this school and those kids as much as he does, I didn't want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So I'm going back into the gym business. So I went into the gym business. And when I was young, like I said, I had my own weights all the time at my house, my parents' house, my apartment.
Sure.
Kids would joke because my name is Massucco, but up in Massachusetts, most people say Massucco.
Massucco, yes.
So they called my father Muzz forever. My older brother was Muzz. I was Muzz. My younger brother was Muzz.
Right.
And kids would joke around if they were, they wanted to lift, because a lot of my friends lifted. So they would come and say, let's go to Muzz's gym and work out as a joke. So when I decided to go back in the gym business, my dad had just passed away in March
so sorry.
of that year. And he was the best man at my wedding. My dad and I got really close. And so I said, I'm going to just call it Muzz's gym. And that's what I did. And even when COVID came and the governor shut us down for 4 months and I was afraid I was going to lose everything. So I sold the business. The woman who worked for me, she didn't want to change anything. She wanted to buy the gym and just keep it the same. So it's still Muzz's gym, even though I haven't been the owner of it in close to 6 years now.
It's your legacy.
You
never know.
Yep.
Well, you look great in the T-shirt. So you must still be working out.
Yep, 5 days a week.
That's awesome.
Get up at 5:15. I'm at the gym by 6.
So we've talked a lot about the things that you do and about your children and your wife and your dad, of course, and your parents. And so you had siblings?
Yes. Older brother Mel, who was my idol growing up. He was 4.5 years older than me. And when he was a sophomore at the public school, Doherty High School, he was already starting on offense and defense as a sophomore. Mm-hmm. And I was about 100 pounds soaking wet maybe at that time. And I wanted to do that. That's what I wanted to do. And he was really getting into working out. So he bought a set of weights off a kid in our neighborhood and had him in the basement with a bench press and a bar and some weights. Mm-hmm. And I'd go down and I'd kind of watch what he was doing. And then when he was done, he'd go upstairs and then I'd sneak over and, because I wasn't supposed to do it. I was like 12 years old, 11 years old. And I'd do whatever I saw him do. And that's how I got started. And I just really, really loved it ever since I started. I just really enjoyed it.
That's great.
Yep.
So the acting bug, did you do any plays, any acting when you were in high school, elementary school, anytime before you got here?
In elementary school, I had a 6th grade teacher who was really into like patriotic stuff. He taught us all the 4 military hymn, the Marine Corps hymn, the Army, all of them. He'd have us singing.
Great. I love that.
Yep. And he also would do like programs for Memorial Day. I think we were in school till the end of June, so we'd do something for Flag Day. So he would sometimes do little skits, and he'd have all the kids involved, but he wouldn't really like make you be involved. But if you wanted to, you could. You
know what I call that? An edutainer.
Yeah.
It's like educate and entertain. Yeah, and kind of thematic,
Yeah. And he was a great guy, Mr. Powers, and but never. Like when I went to high school, I would be like, they'd do a spring show for my high school, that all boys Catholic school, and I'd be like kind of like looking at these kids like saying, "You're gonna get up there and sing and dance in front of all these people,"
right?
And there were no girls, so there were 2 girls' schools in the area, and those girls would come to do the spring show so that they could have boys and girls, because we didn't have any girls at all at our school. You
had to find some. You didn't want to dress like girls and get everybody confused.
Yeah. But now, of course, that goes out the window now, because everybody, because sometimes there's not enough men or not enough women to do the roles, and you have to. But so I would always tell my daughter Maria loved for me to read to her and tell stories, and so did my son Jesse, but he was again younger, and I would tell my daughter Maria a lot of the stories I was teaching in school, like Romeo and Juliet, Cyrano de Bergerac, some of the short stories. She just loved the stories. Tell me that story again. Tell me that story again. So time goes by. She gets involved. I'm not sure exactly how we found out about it initially, but she is like one of the, I think she was one of the dwarfs maybe in Snow White, and she was one of the Munchkins and Wizard of Oz, and then Karen Reynolds and David Reynolds did the Christmas Carol, and my daughter was the Ghost of Christmas Past, and they had a really big guy actually lifted at my gym, and he made her fly. Actually made her fly. She flew on a rope thing that he designed with pulleys and everything. It was unreal. So she kept saying, "Dad, you got to do a play with me. You got to do a play." You know how you say to your kids. Yeah, someday, yeah, sure. Yeah. So she gets older in high school, and the Wilkes Journal Patriot comes, and she sees in the classified ads auditions for Romeo and Juliet. And this is one of the first stories I ever told her. So she says, "This is the one, Dad. You got to audition for Romeo and Juliet."
Now, was this at Playmakers?
Yes.
Okay.
And Nicole Collins was going to direct it.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, man. What happened when I opened the gym? See, I opened the gym. I didn't have health insurance anymore, like I had when I was teaching. So a friend of our family's, Wanda Edsel, worked at UPS, and she knew we needed insurance. And she called me one day and said her daughter, Jenny, was great friends with Maria. And she called and said, "Are you still looking for a job with insurance?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "UPS is hiring for the peak season. If you go down and apply and you get hired, all you have to do is do a good job during the busy time, peak season, and then if they hire you back after January, you'll be on. You won't maybe be getting work every single day, but you'll be on.
It's a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went down, met the center manager. They gave me a big tour. I went the first couple days, and it was hard work, but I did fine.
Sure.
And they called me back.
You trained for it.
And I got hired. So I was working the gym, of course, and then at UPS also. And now I'm supposed to audition for a play.
Right.
So I go, and Nicole has me read, and I'm saying to myself, maybe I'll be lucky, I'll get a part, but it'll just be like Lord Montague or Lord Capulet, a few lines. And Nicole offers me the role of Friar Lawrence.
Oh.
Friar Lawrence is a big role.
Yeah.
And, of course, Romeo and Juliet's super long, so you would have to cut it down. So, thankfully, she cut a lot of the Friar Lawrence's monologues out. Otherwise, I would have really been in trouble.
Yeah.
But
you wouldn't have gotten any sleep.
Right. I did Friar Lawrence and had a blast. So I think it's great. Go on vacation that summer, and Nicole contacts me and says, hey, we're going to do The Crucible. I want you to read for us because you have that Massachusetts accent. And I said, sorry, I'm on vacation. I'm going to New Hampshire. We're going to be up there for a while. She goes, just come in and read for me when you come back. So, okay. So I did. And they offered me the role of John Proctor, which is a big role.
Yes, it is.
And this is my second play ever. I was a nervous wreck. I'm like, you're going to be kidding me. And it went really, really well. I mean, it was great. And what was great about the way Nicole was as a director, she condensed it enough that it was still great, but she got rid of some of the stuff because otherwise those things would have been so long.
Right.
But they were doing back then what was called page to stage. So Romeo and Juliet's taught almost always by freshman English, English 1, freshman English teachers. And The Crucible is actually English 3. And so we had a set for Romeo and Juliet in Benton Hall.
Right.
And the way they built it, you'd take it apart, screws, load up my truck, Mike Hanville's truck. He was Lord Capulet. He was great. A trailer. I forget who else had a pickup truck. And we would go to a school. They would give us the auxiliary gym. We'd set the
oh wow! And you do an
set
assembly
the stage up,
show.
And the kids who are in English 1 would come and watch the show.
Fantastic.
After it's done, great. Take it down, put it in all the trucks, take it back to Benton Hall, put it up, and do a show that night. It was unbelievable. And we did the same thing for The Crucible. So it's really something else. Yeah.
That's remarkable. I don't know that everybody could get that all together again, but you never know.
Right. And then the next one was Christmas Carol. David Reynolds was Scrooge. He was great. And I just had small parts, which was fine. But during that was the first time I worked with Karen Reynolds. And she came up to me after that one and said, your daughter Maria has a beautiful voice. I know she can sing, so I know you can sing. And I'm like, no, Karen, that's not true. And she said, well, I need an evil villain for Oliver because we're doing Oliver the musical, and I think you'll make a good Bill Sykes. So I went home, of course, had cell phones now, and I listened to Bill Sykes' one song that he sings pretty much just by himself. And I was like, oh, okay, it's all kind of not too stretch of a range. So I did it, and my son got Oliver. Dakota, my second son, Dakota. He is Oliver. So Bill Sykes, of course, gets to kidnap Oliver, which was hysterical. And
you can practice at home.
Yeah. And when Benton Hall has these 2 trap doors in their stage, and so you go down one, and we would come up another one, like I was supposed to be under the streets of London.
Yeah.
And when I come up, my daughter Sierra, who is in the play, she rats me out and says, there he is. So it's great.
It's a family show.
It's just great. Yeah, but one of the funniest things was you're crawling down it's like a ductwork is all it is. And I got a big old trench coat on because I'm Bill Sykes, and they had us all mic'd because we were singing. So my son Dakota's small, young kid and agile as anything. We go down, and there's a young girl who's on top of the stage right above the trap door. And when the other stuff's happening on stage, she's supposed to give Dakota a couple of boom, boom, boom on the trap door so he knows where it's ready for us to come up. So I'm trying to crawl down the ductwork with this trench coat, and I keep kneeling on the coat and face planting on the. And Dakota's yelling at me, Dad, she already gave the signal, Dad. And I'm like, oh. And so I get to him, and I'm like, one of the times I knelt on my coat, I pulled the cord out of my little mic thing in the back, my back pocket.
Oh, no.
And I say, Dakota, I unplugged my mic. He opens the trap door, grabs the wire, puts it in one shot, in that little teeny hole, says, you're all set. And we get up and my daughter says, there he is. And we just went on. And we still talk about that and laugh about that.
That's crazy. I saw you in something, I think last year, the play that goes wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Now that was hard to believe. It was right there on Playmaker stage.
Yep.
It was, a lot of things breaking. Yes, and then, so tell me a little bit about how that all worked, how you didn't get hurt. Did anybody get hurt?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, they did.
I hate to laugh about it, but it was a funny show.
It was. That was another Karen Reynolds. Yeah. I don't know how she has the vision for some of the things she does and is able to do, but she did.
She's amazing.
She saw it before, and I guess there's tons of versions of it on YouTube. Okay. So even with John Proctor way back when, people would tell me, oh, you got to see this guy do John Proctor. And I would never watch anything by anybody else because I didn't want to just say, oh, I'm going to do it just like that person. I just want to let me do it the way.
Figure out your character.
Right. So I didn't watch any of these versions, but when I listened to people talking about it, I'm like, this is crazy, So sure enough, they find a place that's going to sell their set because the set is probably the star of the show.
Yes.
It has to work exactly right or somebody can get really, really hurt.
Or you just really can't do that play.
Yeah, or you can't do it.
Yeah.
So luckily, Benton Hall's got a huge area, but depth-wise, that presidium, they call it, was kind of in the way. But Chris Skinner went up with Killian Rhodes and who was the third person? Chloe Skinner, maybe?
Maybe.
And anyway, they rented a truck, went up there, watched the show, talked to the tech crew and the stage crew, and watched them take it down and watched how everything worked first. And Chris took all sorts of pictures and videos, and then he watched it be disassembled. Those folks up there in Virginia helped load it onto our truck. He drove it down. It was so unbelievably big and heavy to move all those pieces. So we move it into Benton Hall.
My back's hurting just listening to
then you have to reassemble it. So we do, and we did little by little by little, and Chad Gamble helped Chris, and Chad was outstanding. He's really knowledgeable and skilled with carpentry. So we put the thing together, and they always refer to the platform that falls as the beast because you have to have it set just right, and it falls 3 different times in the show. And if you don't have these safety pins in, these big safety
everybody has a job to do, and they better do it.
Right, exactly right. And so the people backstage are every bit as important, if not more important, than the people on stage. Right. And the first couple times that they did it in rehearsal, that they tried it, practiced it, you should have seen the reactions of some of the people, because Chris and I were up there, because most of the time we're up there. He's up there more than I am.
Yes,
eventually.
He was. He did an excellent job.
Yeah, but at the beginning, it's me and him on the first one, and it goes down, and I never, ever felt like, oh, this thing's going to fall apart. Right. I never worried about it, because I saw what he did, and I saw how much care he took, and this thing has to go there, this thing has to go there, and we had Brandon Welburn in the back, big Brandon.
Yes, I know Brandon.
And he would control the drops and stuff. And when those flats start falling at the end of the show, they put a red X on the tape, a red X with duct tape on the stage for me, because Chris shoots me, and I fall. And if I don't fall on that red X, one of those flats is going to hit me.
That's incentive to know what you're doing.
And in one rehearsal, it came down and it caught my foot.
Oh.
It caught my foot. And Karen and Brittany Damer jumped in the front row, but it didn't hurt. It just, the way it hit, it didn't, because they weren't really like solid plywood. It's just like fabric but it did have a wooden frame, but it still wasn't like it was a big old sheet of plywood coming down on you. And I said, all right, that was my fault. I wasn't on the X far enough. And but when that used to come down, it would all be down, and everything would be, the dust would settle.
Yeah.
You'd look around and you'd say, I can't believe it worked again.
You survived.
I can't believe it worked again.
Yeah.
Because so many things fall off the walls and fall out of the sky, and you have to use that piece again the next day. So Chris would get his screw gun out and fix it. Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Well, and there are a lot of friendships that are developed from being in, productions and plays.
Yeah.
And so Chris Skinner, from what I understand, he used to just bring his girls for rehearsals and different things. And then all of a sudden he thought, I might try it. So I've gotten to know him a little bit there. Great guy.
Great guy.
And you decided he was such a great guy that you would work for him now?
Yep. I had never met him before. I saw him for the first time in Snake in the Garden, I believe it was. And he did a great job.
Sure.
And afterwards I found that was his first show, and I couldn't believe it, how good he was. But his wife Laura's been in some stuff. And, of course, she was the president of the board.
Still is,
Yeah.
I think.
And they were talking about this business one day, and I was like, what are you guys talking about? And they said, we bought a business, we have a Carolina mobility specialist. And I said, what's that? And she said, we provide non-emergency medical transportation for people.
So essential.
And I said, what a great service. That's great, blah, blah, blah. And then they said, well, we are looking for some more part-time drivers. And I said, well, what do you have to do? And they said, well, why don't you come in and drive with us? Chris said, why don't you come in and drive with me one day and see what you think? So the next day I went and drove around with him. He did all his trips. And he said, well, what do you think? I said, all you got to do is be able to drive and be sympathetic and listen to people, because a lot of them have serious health issues. And so I started the very next week, I had to do the background test and the driver's license test and the drug test. And I started driving the next week. So I've been there since September.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, I'm so glad you're able to do that, and
Yeah.
that you enjoy it.
Yes.
A lot of people, it might not be their thing.
Yeah.
So back to when we first met. Do you remember when you met me?
So was it?
Like 4 years ago, maybe? As characters.
Was it Santa?
It
Santa,
was
Mrs.
Santa.
Claus? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's our date every first Saturday, I think, in December. Last year it might have been a little later. This year it's probably the first Saturday. But I think it was so great to meet you there, then work with you in other plays and other things. And that's why I was getting to know you a little bit better. But what we've been able to talk about today just solidifies the fact that you are definitely, you may not be as much of a senior golden oldie as some people that we're going to talk to, but you have the experiences, you still take great care of yourself, you're active. What are some other things you do to stay healthy?
Well, I love being at home with my two grandsons. My son Jesse works so hard. It reminds me of me with the gym, only with him it's farming. He just absolutely loves what he's doing, which is great. But they have dairy cows, beef cows, sheep, pigs, laying chickens, meat chickens, and we have huge gardens. So he and his wife Vanessa, they work from sun up to sundown, literally, and even more than that, because sometimes they go out with headlights on and headlamps on and
try to get it done.
Started, all get finished. But my two grandsons are just, they're the best.
They're so cute. I've seen them. Holly brings them to everything if she can that you're going to be in.
Yeah, right. And Cyrus and I started because he would have to be certain characters, and it would be a lot of times it would be dinosaurs. We're playing. You're going to be certain dinosaurs.
Oh yeah.
And so now I have a shirt that has Davisaurus on it, and he has a Cyrosaurus T-shirt, and we do dinosaurs.
Yeah.
But then it started to be Jungle Book, Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
Then it's Wizard of Oz, Ice Age, any kind of story. So that reminds me so much with like Maria, but we acted out in the living room. Okay, Dave, you're going to be Baloo, I'm going to be Mowgli.
Oh, yeah.
And he tells me he's like the director. And now we have Arlo, who's a year and a half, and he's really just starting to really talk and make sentences, and
Right.
so now we've added him in there, and it's just it's really added to our repertoire.
Well, you know that I'm sure your kids think highly of you. With Father's Day coming up, I'm sure you've just been that same active dad, especially when you were, having to be stay-at-home dad, which you weren't staying at home, but you were entertaining the kids, taking them places, and I know you feel very strongly about your father. Did you have a grandfather in your life?
Yes, my dad's mom came right off the boat from Italy.
Okay.
In the Genoa area. And I always thought my grandfather, my dad's father did too, but he was born actually in Lowell, Massachusetts. And then my mom's dad, I knew and became really close to, but her mom passed away when I was 2 months old, so I never really met. I heard stories about her,
Right.
but I never really knew her. But my mom's father, my grandfather, my middle name is Russell after him. And he used to come on vacations with us a lot, so we would have a blast with him. And my grandmother owned that house, like I said, in New Hampshire. So a lot of times when we'd go up for the month of July, we would stay there because that was before my parents had that trailer on our land. That's where we'd stay with her at the camp. We used to call it the camp. And so it was really, really close to my dad's mom. My dad's father wasn't as social, but it was funny because when they had difference of opinion, they'd speak in Italian, so we wouldn't know what they were saying to each other. But my dad's mom, we got pretty close to, and my mom's dad.
Yep. I think grandparents are wonderful. I think I've always just thought that's what I need to be, and now I'm there, and I couldn't be happier.
Yeah.
So I wanted you to make a little voice. We talked about it earlier. When I first saw you, I knew you as Santa, and I was Mrs. Claus, and we love that. But this was, I don't know, you came out on stage, and it was a Blue Moon production at the time, small space, and you had on a big foam cowboy hat.
I was the sheriff.
Yeah, you were the sheriff, yes.
And that was something, Kate, what was that? Karen, I think Karen wrote that one, too.
So do your little thing.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of what any of the lines he used to say. Do you remember any of the lines I used to say?
No, I just thought your voice was funny.
Well, yeah, it's pretty funny. Well, what we got here is a failure to communicate.
Well.
And then you and I were in, what was the one with Raynard Chisholm? And you were the salsa lady?
Yes, Southern Hospitality.
Southern Hospitality, that was it.
I was the salsa lady.
Yeah. And we had... we were on the Canada side of the
it was
war.
the craziest,
that was the craziest thing. Yeah.
But that's what makes it fun.
Yeah.
And if you forget some lines, you can do a little ad lib, which is better for me. But I think you've done so many things. I look forward to seeing you and some more things, working with you again. And of course, around December, I know I'll see you then.
Yes.
But what do you have coming up in the next few weeks, probably?
Speaking of Winnie the Pooh, they have the House at Pooh Corner.
Okay.
And it's the Understudies Productions, Julie Baird's group.
Great.
And actually, our rehearsal space is literally right next door, the Copper Daisy. And it's the House at Pooh Corner on June 25th through the 28th at the Pitt Auditorium at Wilkes Community College.
Okay.
And I am Rabbit.
Rabbit.
Yep, I'm Rabbit.
Okay, well.
Yep. And then I'm going to read George Washington's Prayer and the Declaration of Independence for the 4th of July Parade. The Roritons, I think, are putting on the 4th of July Parade.
Oh,
and
that
Randy
is
Huffman
wonderful.
and Fred Costello have asked me to read George Washington's Prayer to the Country and the Declaration of Independence. And I might even be in a boat in the parade as like
I can't
crossing
wait.
the Delaware. And I asked them if I had to shave, and they said no. No, the last time I've been clean shaven, I believe, was when I did Boogie Band with Ryan Walsh.
Oh.
Back in 2021 or 2022.
I know you were really close to him.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad you had that opportunity to work with him.
So Caitlin, his wife, gave me a button with Ryan's picture on it.
Wow.
And I keep in my
special.
pocket every time I go on stage.
Sure. Very special.
Yep.
Well, I guess if your next thing is Rabbit.
Yep.
got to hop on out of here.
Yeah.
We've got things to do.
The only other thing I want to mention is The Dark Side of Human Nature was written by Crystal Broyhill. That'll be the next Playmakers thing that I'm hoping to do. I hope I get a role in that. I'm going to audition in early July. And that's like all of Shakespeare's villains, and she put them all together in the one script, and she did a great job writing the script. I've already read it.
And who wrote it?
Crystal Broyhill
Okay.
from the Playmakers.
Okay.
She does a lot of stuff with the Playmakers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, this has been better than I could have ever expected. So glad to know you.
Thanks.
And wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for spending time with us on Life in Wilkes. We value you as a viewer and appreciate when you share the show with your friends and family. Be sure to bookmark our channel and join us again on the next episode of Life in Wilkes.